So guys, let's go along and get this fuel tank mounted. So the first thing you want to do is drill some 6mm holes in the chassis. So you've got two plates welded here and here. You're going to drill a 6mm hole through there, and here there's two little plates welded on as well, just here and here. We'll drill a 6mm hole through them, and then when we put the tank on, it'll make it easier to put the straps on, and we can mark the straps up, drill them and then bolt them through. Once you've done that, I've done this already, but get yourself some thick, like a foam. You're going to put 2 strips of foam just on these chassis rails where you mount the tank, and that will protect the chassis and the tank. I got mine from Hobbycraft. A sheet of it was £1. I bought 2 sheets, and that'll be plenty to do here and both straps. And that just gives you that little bit of protection between the tank and the metal. Obviously, if it rubs or anything, it'll stop the paint rubbing off and then water and rust. So it's just a nice sort of, it's quite a dense foam from Hobbycraft. I used it on my previous Westfield when I had to repair that, and it was good. It lasted a couple of years with no drama. It probably would last many, many years. So what we'll do now is we'll grab the pre-prepared bracket I've made already, so the strap, and I'll show you that. We'll put the tank in situ, and then what we'll do is we'll go through how you bend the straps and how you mount the tank. So guys, if you get your fuel tank, the filling neck always is on the right hand side on these. So you just sort of gently lift it in, and you want to center your tank up so it just slides in nice and easy, and it just sits on the foam nice. And then you want to measure from this to the end and this to the end, and you want it central. So I'll grab a tape measure, and I can do that, and then we can put some lines on here so you know that it doesn't move. So with tape measure, just measure your distance. So that's 75mm at the moment, and that's 65mm. So I'll just go over 5mm, 70mm, and 70mm. So that's the tank centered, and then we'll just put a Sharpie pen line just either side, so then if when I'm putting the brackets on or the straps on, that it doesn't move side to side. So guys, this is one of the brackets that we have prepared already. It's got a 90° bend in here, it's about 70° there, and then it's a flat with a hole in this side, and on this side it's another little 90° bend with a hole in. That goes over the tank and it bolts down, so I'll bolt this end first, pull this side in and bolt that in. And that holds the tank real nice and tight. So what we'll do, I'll get this bolted in, and then we'll run through how I started and which bends I did first, and then we'll get the tank bolted in, and then we can get some pipes to it. So guys, for this job, you get your strap from MK. You're gonna need a set square, a Sharpie, a tape measure, probably an angle grinder to cut any excess off, and a drill with a 6mm bit. So what we'll do first, we've got to measure on the back of the car how big this L piece wants to be. So a little short 90° bend, and then we can mark it through the car, and then we can drill it in the vise. So what I'll do, I'll quickly go and measure, come back, we can mark it up, and we can start bending. The first bit needs to be a 90° bend at 20mm. So if we put tape measure on, mark up 20mm, and then I like to use a set square, so then we can bend it straight, so we know if we bend it on that line we're going to get a straight bend. Take my soft jaws out because we don't want them. We'll put it in the vise, get the line, we'll get the line straight on there, and then put some pressure behind it and just pull it towards you. And then that is your first 90° bend done. Lovely, I'll go and put this on the car, I'll mark up the 6mm hole, we can get that drilled, and then we'll measure up, and I'll put it on the car, and I'll mark the back of the tank of where we're going to pull the next 90° bend. Marked it up, got my little 6mm hole to drill through there, and then I've got my little pen mark there. That's the tank, so that's where we want to pull the next bend. I'm going to set square across there so I know it's straight, so when I put it in the vise I know that I'm straight by following that line. what we'll do first, we'll put this in the vise and we'll get this one bent. We're going to have to do it in about 2 halves today because my vise isn't quite big enough to fit it all in. So, with this guys, you can get a little soft hammer and you can apply your pressure, pull the bend, so put some pressure behind it, pull it down until you're happy it's a 90-degree bend, so it just needs a little bit more, and then you can just tap that down so then that's a nice flush 90. We'll put it in the other side of the vise and we'll do exactly the same thing just to make sure that our bend is really nice and tight. Lovely. So that's the first 90-degree bend. The next one, I'll put that in situ and I'll do the next mark, and then this is about a 70-degree bend now. So let's do that. I've marked my next line, so we'll put that in and we're going to pull this about 70 degrees, I reckon. It's not quite 90. So back in the vise. We're going to have to do it in 2 halves again, guys, because my vise ain't big enough. Never have that problem normally. So, in we go, let's put some pressure behind it and let's pull it until we're about 70 degrees, a little bit more. I reckon that's pretty good. We can do a test fit, just got to do the other side. This one can be a bit more gradual, to be honest, that's not bad. So that's it so far. I'm going to go and put it on the tank, see what it's like. And then if it's good, I'll mark up this hole and where we're going to cut it off. The bend was perfect, so that is a good bracket now. That's the angle of the tank. So I marked up where to drill my 6mm hole to bolt it to it, and obviously where to trim off. So that bit is excess, so we can get rid of that. So what we'll do now, I'll clamp it in the vise, we'll get the 2 holes drilled, and then we can look at getting that cut off. And then what we'll do after that, we're going to put some foam just on the inside of this, so it'll be double-sided sticky tape and then foam, and that will just protect the 2 tanks. You don't need to do it, but it just, any sort of rattles and squeaks and stuff, it will help with that as well. So we'll get this clamped up, and what I'll do, I'll get my drill. And I'll get a drill bit. So we'll go through with a pilot drill first. We'll probably start with we'll go with a 3.5mm. It's not too small, but not too big. And it's only alley, so it's not too strong. Would help if I had a sharp bit. Let's change that to a 3mm. And let's try again. Who's been using them for drilling bricks? Okay, 3mm, pilot bit, straight through. And then we'll go for our 6mm hole, and that's for the nut and the bolt. Lovely. You can give that a little file if it needs it, but that's quite smooth. Let's just get this hole drilled as well. What's the best way? We'll do it like this. So I'll go again with the 3mm as a pilot, and then we'll do the 6. That was a lot easier, wasn't it? And then what a sharp drill bit does, eh? So, to be fair, this ain't too bad a job, and if you've liked the video so far, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, double tap that dislike button, and make sure you stay subscribed to the channel, because we've got a lot of interesting stuff along this build, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Tap the bell icon to get notified when we drop these videos, because we're going to be having them every single week, and there's going to be different things every week. This week's the fuel tank and the straps and that. Next week could be fitting suspension, or it could be fitting arms or brakes. So make sure you keep in subscribed, because it's very interesting. We've got so much coming up. Okay guys, so we'll just go ahead and we'll angle grind this off. It's about the only two tools we said at the start we needed was an angle grinder and a hammer. And yeah, we've used them quite a lot. So what I'll do is I'll get a quick file it up so there's no sharp edges. Doesn't need to go crazy on it. Little file, just take any sharp bits off. Take the sharp corners off. And that is one of them done. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the double-sided tape on and stick the foam on. I'll do that and then I'll come back and I'll show you when it's done. We can get it fitted then, and then that'll be another job done. So guys, that's the bracket done. It's all foamed up. So all I done was just put double-sided sticky tape on, both sides, all sides, and then stuck foam to it and then just trimmed it up the edge. So now we can go and put that on the tank, bolt it down, and that's job done. Tank's in, it's nice and secure, there's no noise, there's no rattles, it's nice and tight, and the main thing is it's still centre of the supports. So the next thing we've got to do is we've got to run some fuel lines. So we've got this 8mm internal diameter fuel hose, we've got to put a breather on so if there's any gases it can vent to the atmosphere, and also we've got to run the flow and the return. So what I'll do, I'll get some pipes up, we'll come in, we'll do a little pan over and we'll just show you what we've done. We've also got to put, for IVA, we have to put some rubber plastic Copex over the rubber fuel line. So I'll show you that as well, and that is only for IVA. You can take it off, but obviously if it's meant to be there, leave it on. So this is my first one. This is a breather to atmosphere, so it's got an arrow on it that says out, so we want that up. This one goes on the end of the tank. So what I've got a little bit of this Copex. This is just like a protector, it protects the rubber. Just feed the hose through. It is all pre-cut. I've left a little bit either end just so we can get the fuel clips on once we've got it in situ. So just slide that on there. That's on there, and this goes. You want this above the height of the fuel tank, so they recommend you mount it up by the roll bar. So there is some little cable tie saddle clips. We'll mount that to that, and then later on, once I do a pan over, you'll see what I mean. But that's quite an easy one. Then we've just got the flow and return to do. Next thing to do is obviously run your hoses. So we've got the feed and we've got the return. The feed obviously goes to the filter, which is here. So it just runs down, P-clipped up, all in plastic conduit. And then you've got the return that comes back from the injector. So that's also in plastic conduit. We've got a vent over here, so any build up in pressure in the tank, it can vent to atmosphere through this one-way valve, but nothing can get back in. Obviously you need to install this higher than the tank, which I've done just by extending a little bit of fuel hose just up to this point here. That just needs to be cabled up, and that is done. Obviously with the P-clipping of these two hoses, less than 250 mils, so I've got a fixing here, a couple of fixings down there, that's all protected and that's good. I think that is the fuel system wrapped up until we connect it to the engine, but yeah, hope you've enjoyed today's video.